Okay, that didn't go well. Let me just sort this out. We've kind of screwed up. I don't know why it did that, but I'm going to need to set up this thing again. Sorry about this, guys. If you guys could let me know in the chat where we got to, right? Because I don't know where we got to now. So I'm basically having to set this back up. Right, so bear with me 1 second. I'll get this done as quickly as I can. Or do you guys think that it would be a good idea just to restart? Okay, so I'm going to try and give you guys a chance to come back in, if at all possible. So I shall try and wait for you guys. Let me know when you get back in the stream. I'm hoping that you guys can get back in the stream pretty quickly, but I don't see anybody yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that there. I don't know if I should just start this again. Right, I'm just having a look at, we don't need that. Well, that's a bit of a disaster. We kind of lost the stream there. Let me just do one more thing. Okay. So we're trying to get back. Now, what I think we'll do is we shall basically start back where we were. I think we'll do the whole discussion again. I think that's the best way to take this forward. So let's do that, shall we? Okay, Steam integration, here we go. First thing you want to do is you want to basically Google search for advanced sessions in Google, advanced sessions Unreal Engine, and it's going to take you to, one of the links is going to take you to this forum post, right? So we want to download this. So basically what we do is we come down and it's got a GitHub link which we can then click on, And this brings us to the Advanced Sessions plugin. It gives us two things, which is Advanced Sessions and Advanced Steam Sessions. Okay, now depending on which version of Unreal Engine you're using, you select basically the one that you want. So in this case I'm using 4.27, and then basically we download the zip and we extract it, and then we basically install it by, I'm going to open another one here just so that I can show you this easier. So basically, if we go into our project in Chronicles, you'll have either A, if you haven't got this folder, then create it. If you have got it, just double click it and copy your advanced plugins into there. Okay, so once you've done that, you'll go into edit and then your plugins, and you'll be adding these two new plugins that you've got: Advanced Sessions, Advanced Steam Sessions. Okay, and there is one more thing that you need to do, and there's one more plugin, and basically that, if you type in Steam, you will see that there is an online subsystem Steam. Okay, so we enable that. Okay, now in other places you will also find how you set this up, right? But I'm going to show you what a previous game of setup looks like, and then we're going to copy the stuff we need into our current project, and then we're going to test it. So the stuff we're interested in is basically the stuff that says stuff about Steam and net driver definitions. So the likes of this line here, we're going to have to add. We're not adding voice, so we don't need to add that. We're adding this online subsystem Steam. Then we're going to add this part and this part. And one of the important parts here is this 480 ID is basically the default value you use to test. When you apply for your, or pay for your project to go on Steam, through the Steam Workshop, you will automatically get an app ID for your game or project. Okay? So from that, you'll be able to re-insert the new number in here and here. But for testing purposes, and if you haven't got a code yet, you use 480. Now that refers to a game called Space Wars, but we can check that our system is basically integrated with Steam with just that particular app ID, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy these related items into our current project. Okay, so we're going to open our current project and open the config, the default engine config for this one, and you'll notice that when we go down this, there's nothing about Steam at all, or network stuff, right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through it and add the stuff that we need to. Okay, so our first part is going to go in script engine.engine. Okay, so we look for script engine.engine, which is this one here, and then what we do is we paste in NetDriver definitions. Okay, so that is the first part. Now it looks to me like everything else is going to be copy and pasted as basically new stuff, right? So we are going to get our next two sections, which is the online subsystem and the online subsystem Steam, and paste that information in. Now all of this stuff here you will get in Unreal Engine documentation. These are the things that you need to add, okay? And we've now got two more parts to do, and if we copy them and we paste them, we've got the script engine.game engine, and that's the online driver again, and we've got online subsystem steam.net driver. Okay, and once we've done that, we save it and then we close it. Now when we run this, right, you'll notice that if we press shift tab, right, which is what I'm doing at the moment, nothing happens. Okay, now you can't test Steam in the editor. Okay, what you've got to do is basically go to your project and there's two ways of doing this. One way that is absolutely never fails, and that is to launch the game from your actual project and your actual Unreal Engine project. So right click on that, and if you launch the game from there, then Steam should work. Okay, so we'll just wait for that. And now we should, I think I might have to have Steam running. Yeah, I do. That was a bit stupid. Right, it's an idea to have Steam running while you're trying to access Steam. So let's let this do its thing. Hey Slors, how you doing, mate? Right, so we can close that and we can minimize that, and now it still doesn't work, and that might be because Steam wasn't opened when I actually ran it, or it might be because I've forgotten about something. Could be either. It's shift tab, isn't it? There we go. Right, so you'll now see that we are actually on Steam. We're playing Space War, and that's because the app ID is incorrect. Sorry, it's the default, right? And you can see here that you've got all the Steam options. Okay. And you can basically use Steam as if it was Steam, because it is Steam, believe it or not, crazy though it may seem. Right, so you can basically play the game and then access Steam at any point, right? So you will notice that our game is running nicely, and if I press Steam again, it brings up the Steam overlay. So we now have Steam integrated. Okay. We can return to the game by either clicking there or hitting the buttons again, and we're basically back in the game. Okay. And there we go. So you see there that we can actually run Steam. So quite simply, we can now use any of the Steam functionality that has been exposed to us by the Steam API and the advanced session stuff. Okay? But that, my friends, is how you integrate Steam. Okay? So if we were to go into code, right, well, I should probably do it in, let's say our first person. In fact, no, let's not do that. Let's do it in, we should be looking at it in our blueprints. And main, and if we look in here, right, we can, if we type Steam, then you'll now notice that we can do all the Steam type stuff. Right, get Steam friend avatar, friend game played, persona overlay enabled, open blah de blah. Right, so we've got lots of functionality that we can do. And basically from there also we can look at sessions. So you'll notice that we've got lots of advanced session info here. Right, if we wanted to start like a lobby, right, we've got send session invite to friend, we've got all the advanced session stuff as well, right, and we've got server travel, we've got session properties, so you can give a session a name, session IDs, if something's, you can ban players, you can create an advanced session. Right, so if we were to create an advanced session, right, you can actually set up how many connections it's got or not. You can have extra settings, which basically can give the session a name, and you can set up all these things where you can either have a LAN game or an internet game, allow invites, dedicated servers, all the rest of it. Right, now the difference between this is an advanced session, right? But you can also just create a session, right? And you'll see the difference, right? So this is basically a Steam session, right? And this is an advanced Steam session. So you'll notice that you've got a heck of a lot more stuff that you can set up, right? So that's basically why you use advanced sessions, because it gives you a lot more options, right? But that's on a different topic. Really, the topic we want is to basically add leaderboards and achievements. Now, I have done achievements before, but I haven't done leaderboards. But you can't really do that at the moment until you have a Steam app ID and you've basically started setting up some achievements, right? Because obviously you can't test it. Okay? So, now what I do want to show you here is that you can't, like if you've got in Hi Legends Sprite YT, how you doing? I'm doing a game, yeah, that's kind of the idea. Right, so you'll notice that I'm trying to bring up Steam and it's not working. That's because you can't do it from here in the editor like this. Now, I believe in some versions that if you start standalone game, right, we're going to test this to see what it does, right? But if you start a standalone game, in some versions, Steam does work. Yeah, it does. See? So we can bring up Steam in our game there, right? And it's going to have the username, it's going to have all the normal Steam stuff, right? So if you can, that's two ways that you can test if Steam is working, okay? If you've set up Steam correctly, if you do it in standalone and hit the Steam overlay, it should come up. Okay, remember, you've got to have Steam running. Okay, and obviously, just to demonstrate one more time, we're going to close that. And the other way to do it is to go into your project, right, and right click on your project, Unreal Engine, and launch game from there. Right, those are the two ways. Yeah, probably. My other game's on Steam, so that's kind of how you sell games. Right, so this again now works. Okay, we have the Steam overlay and everything's working fine. Okay. So there is how you integrate Steam into your game. Now, there are other steps to this. For example, the achievements. The achievements are not difficult, but they're a lot of work, right? And I think I can show you. Let me just, I'm going to bring this up off screen in case I show you the wrong thing, right? Because I don't want to show you my actual Steam key for my other game, right? But I'm going to show you the part for the achievements. Now I can't show you the part for a leaderboard because I've never done a leaderboard. I used a different plugin for that. But I can show you what sort of thing you've got to put in your setup files. Right, here we go. Right, so basically in this online subsystem Steam, once you've set up on Steam the names of your things, then that is how you set it up, right? So these are the names of my achievements in my tower defense game, okay? And these are all set up in Steam, okay? So basically you add this to the bottom of your online Steam system in your default engine config file, okay? Now, as I said, don't know how you do it and with leaderboards, but I'm guessing it's going to be something similar, that you basically post a number to it with the username and you get it from there. Okay, so there's that. Now the other way we could prove this, which I can't remember how you do, but we could do it anyway because we're kind of crazy that way, is we can also prove that Steam is working, okay, by doing something like a print string, okay, and we'll do it right at the start of our player controller, right? Now I have got the code for this somewhere, but I'm going to try and guess. I'm going to try and guess how to get the username, right? So I'm guessing it's name, and we need to look for like an advanced sessions. See, here's a get session name, get player name. Okay, now I don't think that is from Steam, right? So this one might be. I would be as well opening another project and finding out, wouldn't I? Right, but we should be looking for Steam here. Right, struct. Yeah, these are all under funny names, right? It won't say, it'll say Steam, but it'll say session or something like that. Right, so there's get, see this is under advanced sessions. So let's try this, right? Nah, that's the wrong one. It's definitely not that. Right, I think the best way to do this would be to actually open up my previous project and finding out just exactly what it is, because there's no point in reinventing the wheel. So we'll open this up. And once it's open, right, we'll close that down. I've got the other project open in the other window, guy, by the way, guys, so yeah. Do I have this? Do I have this set up? I don't think I've set up, no. Oh, wrong project. I don't think I've actually set up Steam in Fabrica. I think I've only done it in FTD. So, I'm going to have to go and open up FTD. Give me a second, guys. Right, but the thing is, what we want to do is, we don't necessarily want to hit the Steam buttons all the time, but we certainly do want to know that we're connecting properly, right? So the point here is we want to run this in standalone, and we want to actually get our Steam name back. Okay, so I'm going to do that in just a second once I open this other project up. It shouldn't take too long to open up for us. Let me get a little drink while we're waiting. As I said, this being a single player is actually more in line with what we're doing here. It was the other one. It was a network game I was working on that had Steam as well. Right. I mean, in theory, when you start a project, you should really start with the Steam integration anyway, because at the end of the day, you're probably going to be putting it on Steam, so you're as well just doing it, I suppose. Makes sense, kinda, I suppose. Right, we've got our project open now, and what we need to do is we need to get to the controller and the menu controller, and I'm wondering where I do the Steam stuff. I'm just trying to find it for the moment. Let's have a look at this. May as well let you guys see it while we're at it. Right, this is for my previous game on Steam, so I'm not 100% sure where I get the so that's setting. In fact, if we were to open the actual controller, we should be able to find out where our name goes. It's not there, but it's like, see when I say like update high score or something like that, it's going to give us the right thing. Right, now there is a way to go around about this, which and here's the Steam mode achievements. Right, but this thing here, it should actually be adding a high score. Right, here it's here, update online leaderboards, right? Now, this is obviously for a different thing. Yeah, we get the player state and they get the player name. The Steam automatically updates your player state with the player name. So basically what you do is this thing here. If you say if it's the online subsystem is Steam, so basically I can copy that and then close it down, close that down, right? And I can duplicate that. Then I can put that there. And then I can put that there. Now, if it's false, it's not going to print anything. It's just going to go straight to here. Oopsie doopsie. Right? And if we do have a name, we're going to go and print out the name. And we're going to put that up for a minute. And we'll change this to 60 seconds. Okay. So you'll notice when we first press play, we'll save it. Right. We've got it in standalone mode. We get Boosty Bleep, which is my Steam name. Okay. Now, if I run it in selected viewport, you'll notice nothing, right? Because we know that Steam doesn't run in this editor mode. And we need to test, if you're going to test it, remember to use standalone mode or launch the game from the project file. Right, so we should get Boosty Bleep again because we're hooked onto Steam. There we go. So that runs, no problem. And you guys would get the same. You'll notice it comes up with all the Steam little things, etc., etc. Okay. So, if you watch again from the start of this stream, you'll be able to set up Steam on your game, okay? Or at least you'll be talking to Steam, right? And you can do all the Steam overlays. Now remember, you've got to have Steam running, okay? So if I close down Steam and Steam is not running at all, right? If I exit Steam completely, right? And I run it in standalone, right? It's not going to print my name, right? Because we're not in Steam. So we don't have that subsystem running. You'll notice no name. No name, okay? But the minute we start up Steam, you'll notice Boosty Bleep's my name, so you know, there you go. So it shows you that it's bringing my name back properly, right? And again, if we run it in standalone, now that we're back connected to Steam, my name should be printed out up here. There we go. Okay. So there you go. Steam integration in less than an hour. How's that? Okay, so if you're enjoying the stream so far, hit like and subscribe. Much appreciated. And check descriptions for links to my Discord, Patreon, and my previous game on Steam. And I shall be back in 2 minutes after I have a cigarette. Don't go anywhere, guys. Oh, any questions, just pop them in the chat and I'll get them answered when I come back, okay? Okay guys, we are back and I'm going to show you something that I didn't actually implement, but I was considering. It's still a possibility, but let's have a look at it, right? And the issue was that when we entered a level, now I did find a slightly different solution for this, right? Which is going to work, but this is a little side note for you if you're trying to put a crap ton of stuff in your game but you don't want it to cost you a lot in processing power, right? Now, what I did was I created a blueprint that creates instance meshes, okay? So if we look at this and we hit simulation, nothing's going to happen. Okay, that's because I was mucking about with the settings and stuff. Okay, but here's the thing. If I do this and break this and then plug X into here and then plug this in, right, what I'm basically doing is moving from one side of the map to the other, okay, and basically filling it with the ceiling, right? But because they are instance meshes, they are very, very efficient, okay? So hopefully this will work again. Be rather crap if it didn't, but anyway, right? But if we press simulate, you'll notice that we've now got a crap ton of ceilings, right? And you'll also have noted how absolutely rapid that was, right? That basically just created, oh, I can't remember actually. Well, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different meshes, right? Now, the way I was going to do it was I was going to fire down a line trace and find out if I hit a floor, right? And if I hit a floor, then I need a ceiling, right? Which would basically then have followed the map, right? And any parts that were not covered with a floor didn't need a ceiling, okay? So that was my thought process behind this, right? Now, what we could do in the meantime for this is, just as a little practice thing, is basically create the same thing again but on the Y, right? So basically we do this and because I'm jumping to a new thing, I'm having to wonder which particular one I need to do here, right? So basically when this is complete, we do this, right? But while this is doing this, we do the one on the Y, right? So we basically do the same calculation but do it on the Y, right? So fundamentally what we'll do is we'll plug this in here, then we'll be working this out where we are. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to copy in this again, right? We're going to be putting this in here. And do we need to do that? I don't think so. I think we just need to do this, right? And then put that in Y. Let's try it, see what happens. Always worth trying something, see how it works, right? So if we go to the viewport and hit simulation, blam, right? We have a ceiling. How's about that, folks? And as I said, these are very, very efficient, right? So we could literally have thousands of these, right? And it wouldn't make much difference to the actual level itself. Right? So now if we were to go back into maps, now let me show you the code for this, right, quickly. The important things here are, number one, we add an instance static mesh component, we set it up as a variable, and then we set the mesh that we're going to use, right? This I've set up over here. We've got SM floor and SM ceiling, which are both meshes, right? Right, these are just standard static meshes. And then this is me just getting the start point and end point, so that's not really that important to it. And the final thing is you add a mesh or an instance, and you can also give it a number and stuff, so that you know which ones that you're actually referring to within your program, right? Now, the interesting thing here is that I've got this in a couple of variables, right? And it gets it from a data table. So basically, what I can actually do here is, if we look back at our simulation, right, we can look at the size of it there, right? Now what I can do is go to the actual data table, right, and I can basically set this to minus 20,000, right, which means it's basically going to fill up 20,000 units worth, or actually 40,000 units worth of stuff. It's not using these particular things at the moment, except for the one start point, right? But now, if we go back to our ceiling floor, right, and stop it, and then start it again, you'll notice that our floor is humongous. Right? It's absolutely humongous. Okay? So we can actually determine what we fill in. This, as I said, this is a way I was going to do it, but it's not the way that I'm doing it in the end. Now, as I said, if we use, and there we go, you can see how far we are away from that when we actually redraw it, right? Because we moved the camera miles away to the end of the other one. But as you can see here, we've got all our ceilings, right? And that's basically how you can do use static meshes, instance meshes, to do certain things within your game, right? Now, the interesting thing here, right, would be, and to show you some kind of a way of using this in reality, right, if we look at the maps, okay, and we say map number 1, which is our main starter map, right, what we could do is we could fill in well, as I said, we're just playing about with this just now, right? So let's play about with it and see what we can do. Now, what I could do here is we could add this as a custom event. That's if I can spell right for a minute. Right, and we could say build, let's say a roof. Right, we could plug this in here. Right, and then what we could do is we could actually say build roof in our construction script, which should make it visible if we were to drop this into our level. And there you go. Right, it would be set at 0. This would be set at 0. Right? And that's our ceilings, so you can actually, we can zoom in on this, right, and then we can look up and we'll see Jack, right? Now, the interesting thing here we'll move it down a bit, right, is let's say we'll set this to like, let's say minus 1,000, and let's say minus 6,000, right? Now, here's the interesting thing. If we go to our event graph, right, the problem is at the moment, by the way, guys, that we're doing it in construction, right, so we'll be able to see it. I guess the best thing here is to go to our construction script and basically break this. Right, that's going to speed that back up, and then basically we're going to do it again, but we're going to plug it in to the construction script once we've added the rest of the code. Right, so we'll do that for now so that we can actually change the code. So before we add an instance, right, what we're going to do is we're going to line trace by channel, right, and basically we're going to do from 100 to minus 100, let's say. Oh no, it's going to have to be higher than that. Well, no, it's not actually. Hi Zara Shy, how are you doing? Okay, we're going to split these pins. Right. We're going to come in here, and this is the Y. So we're going to be doing both the Y's because we want the line to go straight down, and these are the X's, so we'll plug these in. Right, and then what we'll do is we'll do a branch, and if we don't hit something, we add our instance. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. As I said, we're just playing about at the moment. Right, so what we'll do is we'll disable our begin play, then we shall plug back in our construction script, and let's see what happens, shall we? Now that is interesting, because it obviously did work to a degree, right? But the interesting thing I want to know is what it's hitting, right? because it might be hitting like it might be hitting something that we actually should be ignoring. So what we'll do is we'll take our out hit, right, and we'll get our hit actor, and we'll do print string, and we'll find out what we're actually hitting here. Okay, so that's going to go there. I'll do white. And it's not actually doing our thing that we actually want it to do on the construction. But what we'll do is we'll say 20 on that. Well, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's a bigger number than it was. So if we press play, I've got it on standalone. Darn it. That's not what I wanted. Right, we don't want that. It's hitting the floor, and it's hitting a plane. Okay, plane, 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 floor, floor, floor. And the interesting thing is here, that if I look at this, right, I know what it is. We should not be going down to 100. We should definitely not be going to 100. We should be going down to minus like 10. Right, and you'll notice now it's not quite right, but you're beginning to get the idea, right, that it's actually leaving spaces. Right, you'll see here that the roof here is leaving spaces where it doesn't hit anything. Right, now the problem at the moment is that when it actually does, it's actually firing directly at a corner, right? So in effect, what we should be doing here well, that's not right. Right, this +1 ain't right. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into here. And I'm going to plug that into here. And then I'm going to add 100 onto there. Because these blocks are 400 by 400, right? So if I do 100, then basically we're moving it more to the middle, which means that it's going to probably hit better. Right, now it's obviously not. Right, but it has got gaps in it, so there is some of the code that's working right. It is working right to a degree. Okay, now I'm guessing actually that this we should be placing at 0, 0. Right? And you'll actually notice that what we'll do here is we shall change this to 500. Okay, 550 will do. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on what's set on our ceiling. If these aren't set to collide with anything, then it's not going to collide with anything. But this shows that it's actually kind of doing stuff that we want, because it's actually following this line and gap up to here and to here and down this one. And it's never actually filling in. You'll notice it never misses one that isn't supposed to be there, right? It's only not doing some of the ones that it should, right? But fundamentally, this was just basically a little bit of play about to show you a little bit of instance mesh stuff, right? But if we press play on this, we could do a bit of more investigation in it to see what's causing the issues. But as I said, I went around fixing it in a different way, the actual problem. And for some reason we're still in standalone mode. Right, but you'll notice that the game's not slowed down at all, right? Right? And that's because once the static meshes are there, it's basically very quick for Unreal Engine to process them. So the game won't be slowed down at all by this, right? So there we go, a little bit of fun there. And we're going to delete this. And we're going to close this down. And we're do a save all. And we're in play, are we? Yep, apparently we are. Right, so that should be us all good and proper. And we can go back to our maps and go back to our main menu. Okay, so a little bit of fun there. Just as an aside. And probably now that we're not using it, we can basically remove this struct and stuff. We can remove that from the struct. Save that. Right. And then basically in our layout parts, we can delete this blueprint. And now we need a drink. So I shall be back in 2 seconds. If you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for Discord. I shall be back in 2 minutes. Okay guys, so we're getting a coffee here and we're going to carry on, and we're going to do the thing that I've been avoiding, procrastinating over, and that is setting the display settings, right? So again, ain't going to create the wheel again, so we're going to go back to a previous project, which is this one here. This is the one that we actually used for the Steam integration, and we're going to do this one. Implements the display settings, right, like the resolution, the window size and all of that stuff. So it's got the code to do it, so we're going to copy that across basically. As I said, I have been avoiding this like the plague because it's a pain in the neck, but we're going to have to do it, so we may as well do it. So I'm going to be swapping between two projects here. I'll show you what's the important things once I find them, but we're going to be looking at the menus. Right, so we've got so basically I've got all this in one big menu, right? We're going to have a look at, I didn't use the widget switcher on this. I basically switched things off and on as required, and we're going to look at the display. Right, and this is very small. Right, so I'll bring this onto the other screen and let you see what I'm doing here. Right, we're looking at another menu, right? This is it here, and we don't want to see that. What we want to see is the display, which is this part here. Okay, and what we want to do is check to see what actually happens when we press these buttons. Right, now I know for a fact that we actually show another window, right? Because you need time, because these settings change your display. If they don't OK it in a certain amount of time, then what you want to actually do in that case is to revert back to what it was, right? You don't want to necessarily keep those settings unless they press OK. So this button here is the button that brings up that particular widget, right? So it's this CP apply settings that actually does it, and then it's this apply display settings that actually does the thing, right? So what we want to do in the first instance is this part here. Okay, so we can basically do this in our options, right? So if we go back to our HUD, we can look at the main menu, And then once we actually press the options button, we actually create an options widget, right? So that's good. That makes life a decent bit easier. So we have our options here, and the first one is audio, the second one is a display, which is the one we want to see and change. So this is going to have an apply button or a cancel button. Just having a sip of my coffee there. So we know that this has got an apply button, right? So we can basically use the same thing. So if we basically just expand this, right, we can find out where it is, and we can basically get this and copy it, right? And then we can open our display one, and we can paste it, and there we have our apply button. Okay, so if we save that, we can look at our apply, and you'll notice that it doesn't go anywhere yet, which is fine, right? But it's gonna. And in the first instance, what we're going to say is we're going to write a function called apply display settings. Okay, then we're going to get game user settings, then we're going to return okay. We have another function called return resolution. Okay, so we're going to have to do another function called return resolution, and we go back in here, we copy that. As I said, we're just basically copying stuff straight from that's that, and there we go. And this is actually a pure right, so we're just basically getting the resolution back. So we basically say return resolution we come from here, and in the first instance what I'm going to do, because we're going to use this a lot, right, because we're going to use this a lot, we're going to do one of those nodes, a reroute node, and we're going to say set resolution. Okay, and we're going to set it from where we are in the combo box. Okay, and that's the first step of what we're doing. And I think I'm going to do this offline. So if you're watching the stream, if you've enjoyed it, found it useful, hit the like and subscribe, it would help me a lot. And check out the description for a link to my Discord and also how to support the channel and the game. Any support will go towards assets and stuff. Keep the lights on. And you can also check out my previous game on Steam, which is called FTD2, Tower Defense game. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all again. I'll be back at 8 PM tonight, Central, and bye bye for now.